Darlene here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to Shedwars. We are a gardening community teaching the world how to garden. So I hope you enjoy today's video. Are you ready? Let's go. Darlene here from Darlene's Garden. Yes, I'm making another Shedwar video. It's April. And I need to make 2 videos for Shedwars. So this is my first one. And it's about a plant that I love. And I think most people do. One of my favorite foods. Do you like French fries, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, au gratin? Oh, you name it. The things you can do with potatoes. Well, when you're planting your garden, potatoes do offer a unique challenge because there's lots of plants that are said to enhance the potatoes as they're growing. There are also other plants that they say don't plant them near your potatoes. It's not a good thing. So let's talk a little bit before I show you what I've got going on with my potatoes about companion planting. And I know this is a little bit controversial for some people. Some people say it's hogwash. Other people say it really does work. Well, you know, whether it works or whether it doesn't, it certainly can't hurt anything. So I'm going to be companion planting. Last year and the year before I planted my potatoes kind of solitary. But this year I'm going to be planting them as companion plants. So we need to understand a little bit about how that all works. The principle behind companion planting is that the different plants will enhance each other. Different species of plants close together based on their ability to enhance one another in the same way. Plants can be defined as good companions for a bunch of different reasons. And the gardener might want to emphasize one reason over another when they're laying out their garden. One of my reasons is to conserve on space. I have such a small area for growing, and I don't want to grow my potatoes in the same plot that I planted them last year. Well, I know where I planted them last year. I will find a few volunteers, and that's okay. But for the most part, I want to plant my potatoes in a different spot than I did last year. And I want to plant as much as I can in a small space. So the more I have the ground covered with things that I want to grow, the fewer weeds will come up. That's my premise there. So we want to plant them by things that don't have a competing growth habit. They need complementary growth habits. So if both plants, something you're planting it by, gets about the same height, that can be a little bit competing. You need to pair tall, upright plants with ground-hugging vines. They can make the use of the garden space a little more efficient. Or deep-rooted vegetables with shallow-rooted vegetables is a good thing. Okay, so let's talk about one of the really important reasons is for pest deterrent. Certain plants draw in certain pests, and if you want this pest not to be on something, you need to plant near it something for the pest to be on so that the pest goes to that plant and not the one you're wanting to keep away from the pest, if that makes sense. Other plants, there are also plants that enrich the nutrients in the soil. For instance, anything you plant near beans are going to be helped because the beans are nitrogen fixers. Potatoes, on the other hand, like to eat the nitrogen, so putting potatoes and beans close to one another can be a good thing. And some plants enhance the flavor of the other edible plants that are near it. So let's find out what are good things to plant near my potatoes. There are several plants that are supposed to enhance the flavor of potato tubers. That includes chamomile, basil, yarrow, parsley, and thyme. Those are all welcome to be near potatoes. They also draw in beneficial insects. Beans, cabbage, and corn will all help potatoes grow better and enhance the flavor of the tubers. And I already mentioned that beans help fix the nitrogen in the soil. Horseradish is said to make the potatoes more resistant to disease, and petunias and alyssum will attract beneficial insects that feast on the insects that are destructive to potatoes. Colorado potato beetles, and I'm not sure if I don't recall that I really ever had a problem with one, but it's said that they can be a particular problem for potatoes. And coriander and catnip, and I have plenty of catnip around, are plants that repel that beetle. So maybe that's why I haven't had a problem, because I have plenty of catnip in the area. Well, there's some things you should not plant near your potatoes also. There are some plants that negatively affect the taste of the potatoes, and some plants that might compete for sunlight and soil nutrients or space. Some that lure the same destructive insects, or maybe they're susceptible to some certain diseases. Potatoes are in the nightshade family, so you should avoid planting the potatoes near other nightshades. That would be like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. My garden is small and everything is near everything, but I don't have to plant my tomatoes and peppers right next to the potatoes. They can be a little ways away. It's recommended actually you allow 2 years before you plant a nightshade in the same spot that it was in the year before. So where I'm planning to plant my potatoes this year, I've not planted them there before, so this should be fine. And there's some plants that are said to stunt the growth of the potatoes: asparagus, carrots, fennel, turnips, and onions. Now I'm going to have some onions relatively close to where I'm going to plant the potatoes, but they're not going to be right next to the potatoes, so we should be okay there too. So I'm going to list off, I mentioned some of them already, things that are good for potatoes: alyssum, basil, beans, cabbage, catnip, chamomile, coriander, corn, horseradish, lettuce, marigolds, nasturtiums, parsley, peas, petunias, radishes, scallions, spinach, tansy, which I don't ever grow any of around here, thyme, and yarrow. Okay, so any of those, I'm going to be planting beans and kale, which is actually in the cabbage family. And let's see, was cabbage one of my things here? Yes, cabbage is on the list. So we're fine there, and the kale is in the cabbage family, so it should be fine. It doesn't mention kale on either the good or bad lists, so it'll be fine. And then I'll have a row of pots near where I'm planting the potatoes, and I could probably plant most anything there because they won't be sharing the same ground. And I already mentioned some of the things to avoid. So let's go ahead and find out what I'm doing with my potatoes first. Well, first I've got some ugly little potatoes those were from last year, and I got little. I've pretty much eaten the ones that were any decent size, but these are sprouting, and so some of these will be planted in my area where I'm going to be planting my potatoes. And hopefully they do better this year than they did last year. I bought some potatoes, a sack of potatoes to eat. By the time I got down to the end of the sack, some of them were sprouting quite a bit. Well, part of them I just cut the sprouts off and ate them anyway. But one of them that was the most sprouted I put down in this pot. And also threw some of the sprouts off of some of the other potatoes, not knowing whether just the sprout without the potato would do anything. But look, they're coming up, and here's the potato, the one potato that I planted down in the middle. It's coming up in this container. It will stay in this container. I will move the container outside in a few days. But these are the main ones. These are seed potatoes that I bought at my local feed and seed store. And they have begun sprouting. Chitting is what it's called. And yesterday I cut them into 2 pieces, each potato. And I'm just letting them sit so that they're starting to get a crust over the top. That way when I plant them, they're not likely to mold. So they all have at least one eye on them, and in most cases more than that. See, this one's got a bunch of eyes, and I'll plant them with the eyes facing up in the ground. And I will be doing that in a few days. For you, it will feel like a few seconds because I'm going to pause this video, and on the day when I go out and start planting them in the ground, I will add that part onto this video, and you will see a progression of the potatoes from me beginning them to me planting them. And then later in the summer, you will see how they begin to grow and how they do in the area where I've decided to plant them. So I'm anxious. My potato harvest in the past has been, let me try to get you turned around here so you can see me. What I started to say, my potato harvest in the past has been okay. I don't plant a huge number of potatoes because there's just the 2 of us, and whenever we eat out, my husband thinks he has to have French fries. He loves them. But if I fix them at home, and my homemade French fries taste so much better than the store-bought, restaurant-bought ones. But he thinks they have too many carbs. I'm not sure why they have more carbs when I fix them than they do when the restaurant fixes them, but oh well. Anyway, so I don't plant a lot of potatoes, just enough for the 2 of us. And I try not to eat potatoes. I love potatoes. I try not to eat them too much because, yes, they are fairly high in carbs, but they have some nutritional benefits also, which any vegetable that you grow does. I think even if you grow iceberg lettuce, it's got some nutritional benefits to it. But yes, potatoes are yummy, yummy, yummy. So I will be planting them outside in just a short few days. I haven't gone out much the last 2 or 3 days. I've been a little bit under the weather with a cold, and it's been chilly outside, so I didn't want to exacerbate my cold. I think I'm finally getting over it. It was mostly just, my husband keeps saying, "How are you feeling?" Well, I feel fine from here down. It was just a head cold. And you know how that goes. I think we've all had them. It's that time of year. But I think I'm on the tail end of it, and my voice doesn't even sound real weird anymore like it did a couple days ago. So yes, planting potatoes. And as you listen to other people's videos, you'll find other people plant their potatoes the same way I do. And some people do it differently. And that's what learning about gardening is all about. Teaching each other how we do it and making sure that people know that just because we're teaching it a certain way, that isn't the way that it needs to be done. You need to do yours the way that works for your garden and for your climate. There are all kinds of different potatoes. The seed potatoes I just got were Yukon Golds. And the one that I had planted from the grocery store bag was also a Yukon Gold. The little ugly ones that I showed you, last year those were seed potatoes from a company that I bought them from. No, I'll take that back. They were seed potatoes from that same store, but I got various kinds last year. This year I decided just to stick with the Yukon Golds and then the little ugly ones. And maybe I'll have better luck. Who knows? And I'm going to be doing a little more fertilizing this year. I will be putting on some of my homemade worm poop. Homemade. I didn't make it, the worms did. But I harvested it from my worms. And it's been a while since I showed you my worms, but that will be a part of my Shedwars videos at some point too, is just me showing you how to get that worm poop so that you can put it on your garden to help enhance whatever it is you're growing. Anyway, I hope you've learned something from this video. And I will be giving you follow-ups to this video. The follow-ups may not be listed as a Shedwar video. They may just be part of my regular videos. So you will have to watch my titles. I'll let you know when I'm working on potatoes. And I may even put some Shedwars in my tags so that you can see my updates when the potatoes begin growing, because you'll want to know how they're doing so that you can see whether what I do is working or not. And let's hope it does. Okay, I'm going to make holes down here, probably a little deeper than what you see there. And I'm going to put all along this area right here. And I'm going to plant these potatoes. Okay, now I'm going to cover these all up. And at some point, not today, I will come in and put a little bit more potting soil or mulch or whatever. Dirt. Compost on top of these. Because they will want to poke their heads through probably. I have 3 more that I didn't have room right there for. I think I've got room for them down on the other end. We'll see if I do. Okay, I decided to put the last 3 in this pot. The pot is broken, but it still works. I just lifted the top off and planted them and then put the top back on. And I will fill it up with more dirt at some point also. For the same reason I'm going to put more dirt down here. So I got these all covered up. And my seed potatoes are planted. Now my little potatoes that I showed you earlier, they're going to be planted in some pots, and I haven't decided which ones yet. I'll do those in a day or so. So, Shedwars people, I was going to show you the little kales that I had planted along that row. Also, a few of them have disappeared, but most of them are still there, and they're about that tall. So I have hopes that they will continue to grow. I was hoping to get out and plant my onions today, but I didn't do that. It's really quite chilly, and the last couple of days have been very windy. So and I've just gotten over a cold. So I didn't want to push the issue and stay out too long. So I just got those potatoes planted. And I hope you enjoyed my sharing how I plant my potatoes. It's kind of the old-fashioned way. I've thought about trying the Ruth Stout method, but I've just not been brave enough to do it. Plus, I don't have any hay or straw. I do have plenty of pine needles. I suppose those would work. And spent plants from last year that are kind of straw-esque. Anyway, maybe one of these years I will get around to trying that method, because I know it seems to work for a lot of people. And I will get around to planting my little bitsy purplish potatoes too. Remember I said that I was going to put those in some pots. I probably don't need to show you when I do that. I will show you if they begin growing. You'll see the update of that. So that's my potato growing video. One of many ways to grow potatoes. I hope you have good luck with your potatoes. So until my next video, you know the routine. May your gardens always be plentiful and bountiful. If you're one of my Shedwar team members, go Team Will It Grow. If you're one of my Shedwar opposite team members, go Team Aquarius. Team Will It Grow's gonna win. May the good Lord richly bless you, and may you always be able to seek out the truth, whether it be about gardening, politics, religion, whatever it is, find the truth. Not what the media tells you. not what anybody tells you, but what you learn deep down in your heart. Well, until next time. This is Darlene signing out.